From new Russia probe developments to the president's announcement of a historic Israel-UAE deal, a lot to discuss with my next guest, Georgia Congressman Doug Collins, former congressman, and candidate Darrell Issa, both on the ballot this November. Congressman Collins, I'm going to start with you first, and then I'm going to go to former Congressman Issa. Significant developments, Congressman Collins, in the Durham investigation, the first real indictment that connects with the Russia investigation, where an attorney by the name of Smith has pled guilty to altering documents that were used to spy on the Trump campaign. He apparently made it easy then for Comey, McCabe, and Strzok to find out what was going on in the Trump campaign. This is the first indictment. Number one, do you expect that there will be more?
Yes, I do, Jeanine. I think we're going to see more. And remember, this is not a low-ranking official. He had a big part. He was the enabler for what all that we saw going on because he changed the documents and then presented it to the FISA courts, which allowed them to spy on an American citizen, Carter Page.
Right, right. And do you think that someone told him to do this? I mean, I know the Inspector General's report, but does the indictment say that he was acting and aiding and abetted by another, or did he just decide on his own to amend these documents?
Well, I think you're going to see a whole lot come out of this, and with him being the first one, there may be others that he is now helping with that could see the whole cabal come down. Because, Jeanine, this has not been one person. This has been a whole group of them. Even Smith had texts talking about Viva la Resistance and liberation. They were all in this together. They hated the president. They hate him as a candidate. They hate him as a president. And they were all in this together. McCabe and Comey and Strzok and Page, all of them, all the way up the line. We saw it in the Flynn case, and now we see it here. This should be the first domino falling.
Okay, and then now we have Christopher Wray, who was aware of all of this. What is your position as regard his staying as the head of the FBI, where apparently he has fought tooth and nail, according to Senator, I believe is it Ron Johnson, yes, to prevent the American people from hearing about what happened with this Crossfire hurricane?
After what we've heard this week coming out of the more emails that have been released from Senator Graham, but also hearing from Senator Johnson as well, I've called on and said it's time for Christopher Wray to resign. It's time for him to move on. It's time for him to get out of the way because we have seen constant feet dragging from the FBI on this issue. It's taking months to get things that should have already been turned over to Congress. But also we've had trouble all along with the IG and Inspector General report, making sure that not only what those things were put in place, but other things. So we need to it's time for him to go. He's been a problem. It's time to get the FBI cleaned out.
Well, there's no question about it. Even the president says he's been very, very protective of his agency, and all of this stuff should have come out long ago. But I'm now going to go to Darrell Issa, former Congressman Issa. Now, this week, historic in terms of Israel and the Middle East, with a peace deal between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize for the president?
It is. You know, President Obama, for 12 days of being in office, got a Nobel Peace Prize, and 3.5 years of hard work by the Trump administration has created a breakthrough that only came because of a policy of being for Israel, against Iran, and for a comprehensive peace that is the beginning of what I suspect will be many nations that will recognize Israel and come out aligned with us against Iran.
And, you know, the prospect of a Biden presidency, how does that impact any of these deals in the Middle East, where apparently more, as you say, and the president intimated, Arab countries will follow through?
Well, Iran has finished spending the $142 billion that the Biden-Obama administration gave them. They've used it to support terrorism and Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations and to continue to undermine peace. So if they get back in, and if you go back to what even his friends say, Biden has always been on the wrong side of every international decision, then what we're going to do is go the wrong way, undermine peace and security in the region, just as we did during that administration. There's no question that we now know the right track is the track that President Trump explored, standing by our ally, asking others to join, and now seeing the fruit of that work. Not only is it a Peace Prize worthy, but in fact, it's going to be repeated.
Yes, I want to get to one more question before we have to go very quickly. You worked with Kamala Harris in California. My understanding is that when the police reform deal was on the table, that Senator Tim Scott had written that there was some resistance from her. Can you comment on that?
Absolutely would not negotiate with Senator Scott. I know Tim. I served with him in the House. And in fact, this is the reason I supported her opponent, another Democrat, in the general election a few years ago, is that she's been in the pocket of the wrong side for a long time. She's no moderate, and we've seen that. And she will, in fact, be to the left of Biden if they become a team.
Interesting. All right. Congressman Collins and former Congressman and Congressman-to-be Darrell Issa, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Judge.
Great to be with you. Thanks.
All right. And Charlie.